So let's talk about something pretty profound but also really simple. What is the trail you're leaving behind? And this isn't about some huge grand legacy. It's about how to build a life that actually means something, one deliberate day at a time. When you read this quote from Emerson, he's not just trying to be inspirational. It's more like a direct command. It's a challenge to every single one of us. Stop just following the path that's already there and start blazing your own.
But that's the real question, isn't it? The world practically screams at us to conform, to follow the path. So how in the world do you actually build your own trail? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down.
Okay, so where do you even start building a trail like that? Well, you might be surprised to hear it doesn't begin with some huge dramatic action. It starts with something quiet, something private, just a blank page. Journaling. Yeah, I know, it sounds simple, maybe even a little old-fashioned, but I'm telling you, it's a totally radical act. Why? Because we live in this world that just screams for instant reactions, right? Journaling creates this gap, a tiny little pause between an impulse and how you actually understand it. And that little gap, that's where you find all the power. And look at this comparison, it just lays it all out. On one side, you've got the reactive life. You're just driven by impulse, always chasing speed. And on the other, the intentional life, driven by thought, where you actually value that pause. Journaling, that's the bridge. That's what gets you from just reacting to the moment to actually intentionally building for your future. All right, next up, let's talk about that piece of advice we have all heard 1,000 times. Follow your passion. It sounds amazing, but what if that's actually terrible advice? What if it's holding you back? What if passion isn't something you just find, but something you have to build? Yeah, check this out. Marketing guru Seth Godin, he calls it a brittle strategy. And that's the perfect word for it. It's fragile. Because let's be real, how many people actually get paid to do their existing hobbies? Not many. It just sets most of us up for a big letdown. So, what's the alternative? Well, here's the big idea, the professional's move. Instead of trying to find your passion, you decide to be passionate about what you do. See how that just flips the whole script? Passion stops being the starting point. It becomes the result, a byproduct of getting really good at something and committing to it. And this whole idea of building passion, it leads us right to this incredible Japanese concept called ikigai. It's all about finding your reason for living, that sweet spot where you can build a passion that actually lasts. So ikigai isn't some mystical thing. It's actually found right where these 4 circles overlap. First, what you love. Second, what you're actually good at. Third, what the world really needs. And fourth, what you can get paid for. When you find that spot where all 4 of those connect, man, you're not just following a whim. You're building a real purpose. Okay, so you're doing the internal work, you're starting to build passion through ikigai. Awesome. But how do you keep that going for a lifetime? The key is this massive shift in how you see time. You have to learn to think in decades, but act daily. And this is such a critical distinction. Look at the amateur mindset versus the professional mindset. The amateur is just stuck in the moment, focused on this one project. But the professional, and this is something writer Steven Pressfield talks about a lot, they're thinking about their entire career, a whole body of work. While they're writing book 1, they're already thinking about book 2. That shift from a single moment to a whole timeline, that changes everything. Robert Greene just nails it with this simple motto. So many people are trapped in the present, just emotionally reacting to every little thing that happens. The secret to mastery is to constantly pull back, look wider, and think further ahead. You have to connect what you're doing right now to where you want to be in 10 years. But okay, that sounds great, think in decades. How do you actually do that without getting overwhelmed? The answer is this brilliant Japanese philosophy called Kaizen. It's the simple belief in small, continuous improvements. It's all about trusting in the compound interest of just showing up and doing the work day in and day out. And this right here, this is the practical roadmap. This is how you take that huge, long-term vision and make it real today. Look, a dream is just a dream until you write it down with a deadline. Then it becomes a goal. Now you take that goal and you break it down into tiny, manageable steps. Now it's a plan. And then you back that plan up with action every single day. And just like that, it becomes reality. It's so simple, but man, it's powerful. All right, so we've talked about starting with that blank page, building your passion, and thinking long-term. Now let's tie it all together and talk about the trail itself, the final result of all this work. I
absolutely love this quote from Naomi Judd because it completely shifts the focus. It's not about what you do, it's about who you are. The point isn't to become some perfect, idealized version of yourself, it's just to be all that you already are.
And this really gets to the core of it, right? Real stability in your life, it doesn't come from getting likes or praise or promotions. It comes from your character, from being committed to who you are. The only foundation that's actually going to last is an honest, real relationship with yourself. You have to get over needing other people to tell you you're okay.
Which leads us right to this. This is such a powerful call to action. Stop thinking about some future you who's going to be great. Be great now. Stop thinking you'll start acting someday in the future. Act now. Greatness isn't a place you arrive at. It's a choice you make right in this moment.
And really, this is what it all boils down to. That legacy, that trail you leave behind, it's not made in a few big, flashy moments. It's forged in the quiet consistency of your days. It's made up of thousands of tiny, deliberate choices that you just repeat over and over and over.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one final question. And forget about next year or 5 years from now. Just for a second, look at today, right now. What trail are you leaving today?